All right, we're hot. All right, everyone, welcome to another episode of the Roam Hunt on the Roam Outdoors podcast. I have a guest that I've been thinking about inviting on for a while, and then it was one of those things where every time I thought about having him on, it seemed like he was on an adventure hunt or trying to kill black bear or in Alaska. And I think you made a post online, maybe it was last week or the week before, you were talking about, hey, I'm shooting my bow here and I am going to go hike this ski resort. Who's down? I was like, oh, he must be close. So I'm going to reach
Yeah,
out. And we got Joe Griffin on tonight. How's it going, man?
pretty good. How about you?
Good, dude. I mean, we were just briefly talking. We kind of got fair skin. So this summer, hot sun, we get sunburned a lot. So we're kind of over it. I'm ready. But it is going to be cooler the next couple of days. So that does make me feel better.
Yeah, I'm down for some cooler weather. The heat and lately the smoke. Man, the smoke has been brutal. I
Yeah.
was uh
I,
I was out west a little bit for a couple days last week and I came home to smoke and usually it's the opposite. So
hmm. Yeah. What
yeah,
day? I
pretty
think it
brutal.
was Thursday. Thursday, I was out in it most of the day, and I thought maybe it was like when I got on the job site in the morning, I was like, oh, it's not too bad. And I had to swap some like door panels out, and I was just by myself doing it, and it was a couple hour job, and then I started talking to the homeowner, and then a couple other things happened. Next thing you know, I spent most of the day out there. And when I hopped in my truck and like got halfway home, I was like, oh boy, like I could feel it like in my chest, in my throat. I was like,
Yeah,
we're in Michigan. We shouldn't have to deal with this crap.
it's like walking out of a 2007 Denny's at 3 in the morning and it just feels like an ashtray in your guts. Yeah,
Yes.
it was
Yep.
rough.
It was, yeah, not cool.
I went
Not
scouting
cool.
2 nights ago and broke out the spotter to look way out across this bean field and put my phone scope on it. I'm like, I can't see anything. It's just smoke. I can see the body. I can tell he has horns, but I can't tell what he is in the smokes.
Man, I know it's
Yeah,
weird.
brutal.
Yeah, what else was I doing? I was going somewhere. Oh yeah. So then Friday took little man to work with me and we were just cruising around job sites and doing stuff. And the sun was like, if something was weird happened in the morning. So he forgot his sunglasses. So he's done this trip. It's north quite a ways. And, usually he gets smoked by the sun on the way up. And he was like kind of disappointed that he forgot his sunglasses. And I was like, dude, I don't think you're gonna need them. Like, it isn't even like the sun's out. It doesn't even get in the truck because there's so much smoke. You don't even need them. He thought that was kind
Yeah.
of interesting. So
Yeah, it was weird. Kind of an eerie feeling those couple of days.
yeah, the funny. My wife sent me something. She's like, yeah, Michiganders on the way to Meyer, and it was like a picture of like one of the Star Wars scenes where they're on the planet, the sandy planet. You can see the moons. That's how the sun looked. I was like, it's like, yeah, we're
Yeah,
living
yeah.
that.
Like bright orange. Weird.
So we like how I saw you were in town. You were talking about kind of getting, shooting your bow and going to go hike the one of the ski resorts or whatever, ski mountains or hills, for a workout. So how often are you doing that right now? Because I mean, I'm assuming your first, like all the elk hunting guys, like the first week of September, right, is kind of like the big push for a lot of, I guess, us guys that would go to the west. That would be about the first trip, right, in the
Yeah,
mountains.
that's when the season kicks off. I think a lot of people kind of wait until that mid part or even that third week for when the rut picks up a little bit more. But anywhere in that September timeframe, people are heading out there to either mule deer, antelope, elk, I mean, anything.
Yeah.
All kind of starts in September for the most part, or even late August. But we go out there every Tuesday if I'm in town and if I'm able. Tomorrow Chase's baseball tryouts till 5:15, so we'll probably wrap that up and then go straight there. But usually there's a group from anywhere of like sometimes it's just me and Chase, sometimes it's like 5 guys, sometimes it's like 20. You never know what you're going to get into. The one thing I'll say is that there's this guy named Doug Brown. He's in probably his mid to late 70s. He's there every single day with a pack on, hiking in a hoodie, sweating his ass off. And yeah, he's probably one of the most religious. Like he's going to be there every single time. So he's pretty cool. That's what I aspire to be when I grow up and put some put some age behind my belt.
That's awesome. So when did you start? Like, yeah, it's like middle of July right now. I think it's the 20th, I believe it was today. So when do you like to start getting kind of like in that mode where you're thinking about, all right, I gotta get ready to be climbing mountains?
I try to kind of just stay in that mode. And sometimes I'm better at it some years than others. This year I kind of fell off a wagon a little bit. Um, as long as I'm staying active in some degree or staying like in the gym and moving, then I'm usually feeling okay. Um, but I don't hit the hill and hit the archery course religiously on Tuesdays and Sundays like I do after turkey season, after bear season. So like mid to end of May when we're done bear hunting, that's when we really start kind of cranking for September hunts.
Nice.
So
Yeah, and
yeah.
you have you found that, mixing in that climb with like a pack or a weight vest really benefits you when it comes to time to go? I know the elevation, you can't really prepare yourself completely for the elevation, but does that help, with your body being not as fatigued on the hunt, I guess? Because I've only had like one Western kind of hunt. It was very low key. We hunted out of the truck. I was in Wyoming, which that's how me and you met. You kind of shared some pins and we kind of hunted, an area, and it was like, there was some hills. We did some, climb, but I wasn't like sleeping out there. So I was like, walking back and forth every day. And I did some like weighted, walks with the wife, and we kind of got prepared that way. But it did not prepare me very well for the elevation and then going like straight up. Like that was, some of those hikes straight up were like, whoa, that was way more than I was quite ready for.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a whole lot you can do to adequately prepare for elevation coming from 600 feet or sea level, wherever you're from around here. But I haven't found anything that replaces putting weight on your back and going up a steep hill. Really, there's nothing that replaces that. You just have to kind of do it. So the Cannonsburg here, kind of like northeast of Grand Rapids, we'll hit that one. And then I'll actually hit the sand dunes in Saugatuck down by my house a little bit too. Those have been getting kind of blown out though, where it's like almost to the point where they're unclimbable with weight on your
Mm-hmm.
back because the sand just washes away underneath your feet. But we've been doing that, I mean, shit, probably 10 years now, going to the ski hill and going to the dunes and kind of preparing in that way. And then that's really the best thing I can think to do if you're living in this area and then consistently hunting mountains. That's kind of what you got to work with, right? You can
Yeah, I
do the
mean, it
stair
makes
climber in
sense.
the gym. That helps too. And just overall like strength and dexterity of your legs is big. And obviously having good cardio once you get into elevation, that helps a ton too. So
Yeah, when you like the one spot, we kind of struggled to find mule deer the first few days. Found elk, found antelope, found everything, found whitetails. Just didn't find mule deer. So I was like, well, it's early, and all these places I've been checking aren't very high. Like, let's kind of move up higher. And I remember I had like mapped out a spot, and I was like, looks like a pretty good glassing point. And it's not really that far from the road. I was like, we can look in all these canyons and glass probably a long ways. Completely misjudged like how long it would take to get up there. Just from that was like my first real like big like test of it, and me and the wife were still laughing about that. It's like, we can go. It's like I would like turn around, look back, and she's like, she was pretty good shape, but like she's got way smaller legs than me and short legs, and we took so many breaks going up there, and I was like, man, that. And then I like, you get up there and you like look, and it's like, well, the road's like right there. Like, how did that
yeah,
take us that long? Just being a flatland, Michigan, or not knowing what I was doing. But by the end of the trip, we kind of went a little higher in a couple other spots. And it's like, okay, kind of get a feel for it. There was one hike that we did that I was all like, oh, this is going to be a spot that's probably like, should be really good. Like, I can look into some different stuff. Got up there and the trees were too high. So like at the top of it, I couldn't see over the trees. So she wasn't too
oh
happy
yeah,
about that. But it was fun though. And definitely, yeah, definitely trying to climb through rocks and, find little areas in the rock face that you can sneak up through. I can see why guys really, really, really like doing.
yeah. It's just a fun, very interactive way to hunt. I don't have a whole lot of sit and wait in me. I mean, I do for whitetail for sure, but even like if I have the opportunity to make a move or sneak or like I have this kind of ADHD type symptom when it comes to hunting where I get like decision fatigue on where I want to sit. So I just stay mobile and I'll get down out of a tree after an hour and move to something else. And when you're out west, that's kind of the game out there. That's like it makes sense to be mobile and to work a ridge system and look into little different folds and stuff like that. So it's more exciting for me for sure.
All right, before we get too much farther, let's kind of like back up, and anyone who doesn't maybe know who you are, like how old you are, kind of, I know you've been in a lot of different things, but just kind of give us the elevator pitch of who Joe Griffin is.
Yeah. So I'm 34, from West Michigan. I have a 11-year-old son. He's been hunting since he was 4. I came from weirdly enough a non-hunting family. My mom was like a member of PETA and Greenpeace and Sierra Fund and all that stuff, just like super, super anti-hunting. And my dad just was never exposed to it, wasn't against it. But third grade, I got exposed to the premost truth about hunting VHS is through a friend at school and just was like enamored by it and convinced my parents to let me try hunting. And from like that point forward, it was like, I think 2005, 2004, something like that, or maybe earlier, I think 2002. From that point forward, I like knew hunting was 100% going to be my thing for the rest of my life. So fast forward from that, I spent every ounce of free time that I had um, hunting ducks and geese and turkey and deer and small game and coyotes and everything that you can do here in Michigan. And then started guiding snow goose hunts and waterfowl hunts out west in like Missouri, Arkansas, Kansas. And then it was 2014 or 15 when I finally like got the elk bug and went out for the first time and been out every year since. And Alaska kind of got thrown into the mix and northern Canada, and now it's all like all over the board. So
Yeah.
everything from sheep to black bear, caribou, grizzly bear, I love it all.
Dude,
So
I love that. It's so cool to like, I grew up, I'm a third generation, maybe fourth generation, probably a fourth generation hunter. I'm sure my relatives across the ocean, they hunted, potentially, but that was just in my like family. Like it was never a matter of if, it was just when I was going to go, like when I'm going to kill my first deer and just hooked on it, and that I have a family of that. So for you to, start out as a kid, third grader, 8 years old, like 8, 9 years old, whatever it is, and just be enamored by it and kind of the projection you had through the rest of your life and going into your, your 30s and all that stuff, all these opportunities that you've had. It's pretty cool, man. Like that's inspiring that it doesn't, you never know what opportunity may be there, but you just got to make the best of it. And now you got a kid that is doing the same thing. And the first thing, I think I remembered you saying that before about your mom on another podcast or something, but how does your mom kind of like think about all that now as she's probably seen your life come full circle with it and now raising your own son in that way? What's kind of her opinion on the hunting thing? Like, is it kind of a awkwardness or is it more of like understanding? Because I kind of have a belief. I've seen a lot of anti-hunters like at these NRC meetings that I've been going to for the past year and a half. And I have conversations with them kind of briefly, and it's like sometimes you're not as far off as we really think we are, but then sometimes it's like, okay, it's too much. But there's been people
yeah,
who talk about hunting and they don't have an issue with us doing it. They're like actually like, man, thanks for talking that way. I've never heard people talk about hunting like you guys have. So just kind of curious
yeah,
on that.
I think that's a great point. That middle ground is way bigger than what hunters realize, I think. And I think we do a lot better job now, but like the generation of hunters or us as hunters a decade or 15 or 20 years ago, we were very like dismissive and kind of put the middle finger up to anyone that didn't understand hunting. And that did nothing for us. But to answer your question about my mom, she kind of like, all right, I had a persuasive writing class or a persuasive writing essay in third grade where I had to convince someone of something through like logic and points and data points, things like that. And she still ate red meat. So it was
Okay.
very easy to be like, okay, here's kind of this middle ground here. And she's like, yeah, you got me dead to rights on all these points. Like there's no logical argument to this. I just have this emotional barrier between wanting my son to hunt and actually allowing him to do it, but I'll let you do it. And kind of figured it was going to be like the typical 10, 12-year-old thing where they're obsessed with something for a month and then they
Yeah.
hate it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it just snowballed and snowballed and continues to snowball. Like I still feel like I'm new at it. And I still feel like every year October 1 comes around, I got butterflies and listening to Fred Bear and can't sleep the day before. That's never changed. But she quickly saw that and she found a community in hunting even while she was against hunting. Like there was all these, I got into competitive goose calling of all things, which is kind of weird, but like she kind of found this community of like soccer moms in this goose calling community. And then started like, oh, maybe I could kind of get into hunting or I'll go out with you and like drop you off on opening day and hang out with you for a little bit. My dad traveled a lot for work, so I kind of relied on her to get me out into the field before I could drive. And then I think it was probably about the time I was 16 where she's like, I think I want to try to shoot a duck. And she shot a duck and I kind of looked over at her. I'm like, how did that feel? She's like, I liked it. It's cool.
Awesome.
And then it was, shoot, the years later, probably 10 years later, Ace asked her, she's like, Grandma, why, or he's like, Grandma, why don't you come deer hunting with us and shoot your first deer? And she's like, all right, I'll try it. And like 2 or 3 days into her trying, she shot her first deer and like liked it. Still had this kind of barrier of
Mm.
like, she's not going to be one to go out on her own and deer hunt on her own, but she
Mm-hmm.
appreciates it enough to be like, I'll go when you take me and you're going to gut it and you're going to do all the dirty work of it. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
still going to have this like mental barrier about eating it, even though I eat other red meat and
Mm-hmm.
I like the way that it tastes. But she's completely an advocate for the sport now.
Love
So
it.
that's the long answer to that question. So
That's so
yeah.
cool. That's so cool, man. And I think a lot of that is because you probably, were a good example of that. Like you were around the right people, like you said, the soccer moms of it, like bringing awareness in a way that she'd never seen it. And a lot of people are in that boat. They don't understand what goes into it. And
Mhm.
I do I do residential construction, so like I got homeowners that have some people hunt, some people have nothing to do with it, but for the most part, like it's a really good conversation to have with them, like especially when fall's coming and I'm updating them like, hey, I'm going to be out of town. Oh, where are you going? You going to like Paris or something? It's like, nope, going to Kansas to go try to shoot a whitetail. Or like on my like Gmail profile page is me with a black bear I shot. So like that's always a really good, and I kind of keep it there just to let people know like, hey, I'm a normal guy, I'm hardworking and doing this way, but I love being outside and I love doing these things. And 9 times out of 10, it's never an issue. Like maybe I would even say 98% of the time, it's never an issue, especially for people who don't even own a gun. I can still have that conversation with them, but it just all starts with being that good representation of what you want to be as a father, as a worker, all those things. And then just have an ability to articulate why I do what I do and why I really like it, goes a
Yep.
long ways. And sometimes they let me hunt their property, not always, but you never know what person might buy something to have a opportunity in the
Yeah.
future. So,
I used
so
to be a builder as well. And anytime that we had a vacant lot on the edge of a subdivision, and I could get permission on the back of it, I'd always try. Seems like I killed a lot of turkeys in subdivisions that way.
I have a turkey spot I know now for next spring because I'm doing a house in a place right now that's got a whole bunch of undeveloped part of it. And man, there's so many turkeys there just hammering all the time. And I, like 2 weeks ago, I finally got the guy's name and number who owns all of it. So playing the slow
Nice.
game, but I might be turkey hunting, maybe a little deer hunting there this fall. So it'll be good.
Heck
So
yeah.
then another cool thing about that is like, or another thing I want to talk to you about was like, I know how like, I would use the word maybe almost obsessed or like passionate. You're very into hunting, like the Alaska bugs bit you, elk, all these like really big, these hunts that you're going on take a lot of time and effort, and it's your thing. Like it's really cool. Like you can tell you're passionate about it. You put the effort in, but you also have a kid that's a year older than my son, and I find myself to be I get accused of maybe being a little too addicted to it. I kind of center around a lot of my stuff to be able to hunt the way I like to hunt. I'm not a guy that hunts every single day, but I do put a lot of time and free time into thinking about hunting or trying to be better at shooting my bow or, any of these other things I do. But then trying to balance that with my son, because I remember before, I think my kiddo was probably like 1 or 2, and I was listening to a guy that was like, I was like learning how to be a better whitetail hunter from. And one of the things he said is like, I was like, man, his son must be just like into this. And he made a comment or a post one time saying how, man, he feels like he pushed his kid away and that he no longer hunted with him anymore as he became an adult. And I was like, okay, that is like, I got to make sure I do whatever I can to not, if my kid doesn't want to hunt, that's fine, but I don't want to be the reason why. I don't want to push him away or anything. I just want him to be able to enjoy things like I enjoy. And I was wondering if that has ever been something that you've dealt with. It sounds like your kid's kind of intense. He's going for baseball tryouts. He's tagging along with you on some of these workouts. So seems like, the discipline's there, but like, what's your kind of like opinion on that? Like trying to raise your son in this outdoor lifestyle?
To be to be frank with you, I've struggled with it too. And I didn't even when I was struggling with it, I didn't even know that I was. 'Cause I thought I was kind of doing everything right. Um, I had kind of a weird. This is going to be a long answer, but
That's fine.
it's a really good question. Um, I had this weird relationship with my dad because he worked out of town so much. He was gone for weeks, months, like 6 months at a time. But always made like this effort to, like, even when he was living in Texas, opening day of deer season, he'd drive through the night from like Grapevine, Texas to Escanaba, Michigan for opening morning, and then had to turn around and drive 22 and a half hours back after the morning hunt. So like I missed a lot of time with them, but the time that I did get, I felt like it was very prioritized and like making memories and things like that. So I kind of doubled down on that with like, all right, I'm going to make every little moment impactful with my son. And we're going to do some crazy things to make some crazy memories in these first 10, 12, 15 years of life because I wanted that so bad as a kid. And we had it, and my son's cut from the same cloth as me. Like, you don't have to tell him to go hunt. You don't have to tell him to shoot his bow. He he will be twice the hunter at half the age that I am
Mm.
quickly. He took no convincing to love it and to really love it and to be really good at it. The thing that I found was like getting that healthy balance of doing the normal kid stuff and introducing all the awesome experiences that hunting gives you and making sure that both of them are happening in unison. And there was a lot of times where like every day after school, we were rushing to a tree stand and grabbing Culvers on the way home because we didn't have time to make dinner, and rushing to bed so that we could go get him to school on time the next morning and do the same thing all over again. Or when he was 5, I took him elk hunting in Montana. Like the second week that school was in, I took him out of school for a week to go to hunt in Montana. Every year, it's like he hits like the max um, absences that a kid can have in school,
Mm.
so you can do a lot of these trips. So it did take some, I guess, time to kind of dial in that life that I want him to have and the experiences that I want to have together, but also being a responsible human being at the same time.
Yeah.
So
Henry's gonna be pissed if he hears this because I've been telling him he can't go out of state with me until he's 12. Like that's my thing. Like he's like he was mad we didn't take him to Wyoming last year. I'm like, dude, like you're really good. Like you could follow me a long ways. Like we rabble hunt, you'll walk miles. Like you do all the things, but it's like, man, I just think you gotta be just a little older. And I was like, I kind of want you to be able to like, not feel like you can't hunt the way that you want to hunt. And now I hear this, I'm like, man, if he hears that, he's gonna be like, see, Dad, you could have taken me way sooner.
well, here's the flip side to that too, though. Like that's another good point is like Chase has been hunting the youth hunt since he was 5. And he's had Michigan bear tags since he was 7, because in Michigan, the youth, they can put in again in July and get the turn back tags with no points. So he has a bear tag again this year. Um, he's hunted Ohio. He's hunted in Kansas. He's been out west with me. We're going to Alaska next week. But all of these things came to a point where like I don't want to say they became an expectation or like he wasn't grateful for, but it was definitely expected.
Yeah.
And that hit last year. Or it was 2 years ago. Last year or 2 years ago. That was 2 years ago because he didn't do the youth hunt last year. Um, I could see he shot a giant buck, and it was just like kind of underwhelming in
Mm.
a way. And he got so used to shooting like the biggest buck on the farm in Velvet on September 12th. And thankfully, he had enough like self awareness and foresight about it where he came to me about it and said, I don't want to hunt the youth hunt next year. Last year, he was saying.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
like, this is the first year that I get 2 buck tags, and I want my first deer next year to be in the regular season, not on the youth hunt. We'll see if that tune stays the same this year.
Yeah.
But
See what happens.
yeah. So there definitely is something to where like if I was to do it, like if I had another kid and I was to do it all over again, I would definitely take him hunting a ton. But I think I would introduce some of those things that need a little bit more understanding to be appreciated later.
Yes.
Like I'm glad that I've taken him to New Mexico that doesn't have a minimum hunting age to go shoot a big bull elk because he's not at an age where he understands like how much work really goes into that. And yeah, so there's definitely a component to it where like, yeah, it's good to get them out in the outdoors and hunting, but there's an age where they can really appreciate it, and there's an age where they don't understand how awesome something is and they take it for granted. And we were flirting with that line constantly.
Yeah, and that's not a shortcoming of the kid, right? Like that's just like being
Mm-mm.
a kid. They don't like,
Right.
and I'm the oldest of 6 kids, and like my dad, he took the stance of like my kids are not doing the youth hunt. So like I didn't even know, I didn't even really know the youth hunt was a thing until I was like, I mean, I'm 36, so like it was kind of like I think I could have caught some of those last few years of my childhood. I could have done it. I didn't
Hmm.
really know it was a thing until like these kids at school are like showing me pictures of like velvet bucks they're shooting with a gun. I was like, what are you guys doing? And I went to my
Yeah.
dad. I was like, do you know about this? He's like, yeah, but you ain't doing it on any of my properties. I'm like, oh, okay. But he was very unselfish when it came to like deer season. Like he didn't hunt an opening day for himself because I'm the oldest of 6. And we're all kind of like close in age. I want to say it was like 8 or 9 straight years he had a kid with him on opening day with a gun, like trying to get us all our first deer. And he would do it still to this day. If someone needed to be there, he would take them. Like so he always set that really good example of my kids are first, but like I want them to do it the way that and that's how he grew up. Right. And then,
Yep.
so like I'm the oldest, I have the first, his first grandkid that can hunt. And I didn't know how Henry was going to be. And also like he turned 7 and it was like, he wanted to hunt like that was the year 6. He kind of almost did. And then going into like when he turned 7 in March, it was like a light switch went off and he was like, wanted to shoot the gun in the backyard. He wanted to, do these things. So then I took him on the youth hunt. I did not do the youth hunt that year because I wanted him, he had always been going with me like in the blind during opening week. We go to the family farm. We have nice heated blinds. Like he knew about making mac and cheese and hot chocolate. You sit out there all day and just have a good time and probably shoot a doe or something. So I kind of
Yeah.
selfishly wanted that to be his experience. Well, we didn't get anything opening week. He didn't end up getting a deer until like after Thanksgiving. And he had sat, I can't remember how many hours he sat in the blind, but it was a lot. And I was like really happy that he grinded it out and he liked it every time. Like he always was excited, but I made it easy, right? He had some electronics and, he had books and stuff. And if he got to the point where like it was too much, we didn't sit all day, every single day. We'd kind of like bounce around a little bit to keep it exciting still. But for the most part, he didn't just go out one night and shoot a deer and it was done. Like he grinded it and he loved it. Well, then fast forward to the second year. That was the year they were kind of saying like the youth hunt's going to be no more. So I was like, hey, you probably should, you have an opportunity to shoot a buck in velvet. Like that's pretty cool. Like I can't do that in Michigan unless something's weird or I gotta go out of state. I was like, what do you think about that? And he's like, yeah, I want to shoot a buck in velvet. Like, let's do it. And we had a 6-point that was still in velvet that we were getting trail cam pictures of. So like, let's go out there and, get them. And sure enough, the buck comes out and it was a disaster. It didn't work. I was on the wrong side of the blind and he was kind of emotional roller coaster, right? His kid's only 8 years old and thinks he's going to make
Hmm.
it happen. And sure enough, that buck works off. And then the next deer that steps out is a nice, 2-year-old 10-point. He smokes it. And it was like really
Oh,
cool. Like he was
perfect.
excited. So I was like, he got a great buck, and exciting. And what's really crazy is that was the year I was hunting like a 200-inch deer. And that 200-inch deer was actually in the
Jeez.
field when he shot that 10-point, but it was like 400 yards away. So like,
Holy.
talk about a dad. Like I was like, dude, and I told him, I was like, hey, if this giant buck comes out, I'm sorry, I'm not letting you shoot him in the youth hunt. Like you'll have no idea what you did. Like it's hard to like explain, but like I'm going to probably put my foot down. Like you're going to shoot a potential county record in like the youth hunt. Like I didn't know he was that big. He ended up getting killed later and he was like 207 or whatever. But that buck was in the
Jeez.
field, 400 yards away. And I still let him shoot this deer. I'm like, I don't care. Like I like whatever. Like maybe that's the reason why I didn't get him. I don't care. But all that to say is he shot another buck in the youth hunt last year and he was like bummed because 2 years in a row he didn't get to hunt. He shot does in the gun season, but he was like
Yep.
hunted minimal, 2 nights only, did it. And then this year he's like, if I hunt the youth hunt, I think I'm going to bring my bow. Like if he's like, he can pull like 32 pounds back right now. So he's like, I think I'm going to do it that way. So to me, hearing my son say it, like his experience with the youth hunt and then having your son explain his experience, I think is like us doing it the right way. Like they're understanding there's more to this hunting
Yes,
whitetails or hunting and then just going out there on a bean field or whatever and shooting a deer right away with a gun. So I think that's a win in my.
I agree. Yeah, and I think that I'll always be a supporter and a proponent of keeping the youth hunt because there's a lot of guys that are selfish with their time, or they don't have, I don't even want to say selfish. They have a super tight work schedule or family life, and they get November 15, 16, and 17, and that's their hunting season. So the last thing that they want to do is take their 5, 6, 7 year old out during that 3 day time frame that they have with the boys up in the UP and they're
Yeah.
smashing beers at night or whatever that they're doing. So for that dynamic, thank God there's a youth hunt so he can go take them out prior to that. But
Yeah.
it's something that you have to kind of, I think, self-govern. And the more that time that your kids spend in the outdoors, the more they understand what they want to get out of it or the experience that they want to have. And they kind of speak up about it, like your son did, where it's like,
Yeah.
maybe I'll take my bow next year. And
Mm-hmm.
like Chase last year didn't hunt the youth hunt at all. And we went out bow hunting. I think he shot his first buck with a vertical bow last year. And we have these little walkie-talkie things. I'll sit 50, 60, 70 yards behind him, put him in a ladder stand that's got a lifeline on it, and let him
Mm-hmm.
just kind of completely run his own show. I'm there so that it's legal and I'm safe, but let him completely run his own show. A buck walked right in front of him at like 22 yards and punched it, ran 15 yards and died. And it was this little 6 point like this. He's killed so many bigger bucks than that,
Mm.
but that was the most meaningful buck he's ever shot.
The other
Which
pictures show that he was pumped.
that meant more than the 144 he shot the year previous by a landslide.
Yeah.
And so youth
Yeah,
hunt's cool,
that's.
but
But I think, I love talking to you about this because, like, I think we share, like, I haven't done the crazy adventure hunts or, like, done those kind of things with my kid or, like, done that, but also very conscious of, like, hey, we're trying to raise kids in this time and age where life's a lot different for a 10-year-old or 11-year-old than it was for, like, me and you, growing up. So it's like you're trying to balance that. And then I'm assuming your kid, like, is into sports too, because you talked about baseball earlier, but, like, that's like a whole nother, like, animal that you throw in there is like the sports thing. And, you got football or soccer or any of these things. And you're trying to, like, give your kid little doses of this stuff that, because how, like, how it can benefit him and his family in the future. And you just kind of sit back and you're like, fingers crossed, like, hopefully he likes it and,
yeah,
does a good job. And if he doesn't, we'll just pivot to something else that he likes. But fortunately I was blessed that my kid likes it. And so, your kid too. But another thing I want to talk to you about with the kid, like, did you recently it's kind of a pretty hard pivot, but we're still talking outdoors. Did you guys get a new boat this year? Or is that, like, fishing kind of a new, like, did you guys add fishing to your guys' thing this summer?
no, we've fished hard for. He's just equally as eaten up with fishing as he is hunting. We've had a duck boat for years and years and years. Like he grew up fishing his ass off, steelhead, bluegill, trout, you name it. Um, and it was like a 16-foot duck boat with like a mud motor on the back. And one came up on Marketplace that I'm like, oh, that'd be a perfect boat. A little more room for us and get the dog and get Lex on it, like, and have more room to cast.
Yeah.
So I'm like, we're gonna sell this boat and we're gonna buy this one. Sold mine instantly, went to buy that one, and it sold out. Like it was gone. So, and it was like going into hunting season, so we didn't really think about it for a little bit. And then we went a summer without a boat last year. We bought
Mm,
a raft, like a fly fishing raft for doing like some of the smaller rivers up north. And we're like, oh, we'll just do that a little bit more. And then this year, going into the summer, we're like, we're not doing another boatless summer again. That doesn't
yeah.
work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we bought that one
So
back in
very
July, June.
experienced on the river. So, like, you've spent time on
Yeah.
the river. Okay. I have
Yeah.
not. I'm not like I'm more of a dock crewmission as a kid growing up. Like, I just fish, shore fishing. Didn't spend hardly any time in the river. But 3 years ago now, my wife was like, I really want to, like, because we fished a little bit when we were dating on just, like, local lakes and stuff like that. And I got an old 86 bass boat, man, and we've had so much fun on that thing. But
Heck yeah.
but my wife really likes the idea of going in the river, and I'm like, well, we can't really take the bass boat on the river, so I'm kind of contemplating the idea of, pawning that thing off and getting a boat that's a little more suited for the river, just to like take duck hunting. And then when I go some of these west, when I go west to whitetail hunt, there's some areas that have water. It's like, man, a different kind of a boat would be a little more clutch in those circumstances. So seeing you interact with your kid on that and your dog and stuff, I'm like, yep, I could see that being a huge benefit to be able to do those kind of things.
Even locally, if you've got a decently capable boat, there's a lot of landlocked public, not even landlocked, but just easily accessible public to a boat that would be a nightmare to get a deer out of, hiking it out or packing it out. And like, there's even some pieces up in the Manistee area that are completely landlocked that are really fun to get to.
Sweet.
Yeah. So having a riverboat is a very, very much a multi-tool. It's not just for fishing.
Yeah,
so.
My barn's not big enough to have two boats, so I gotta be picky with what I got.
Yeah.
So the old bass boat's probably gonna go on the chopping block, so I can get a different style boat.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I guess I want to pivot to your Western adventure hunt, because first time I met you was at the Fair Chase Film Festival. I think you had done your sheep hunt, I believe, was the one that you had videoed on, that crazy shot on that ledge, and you guys almost died of dehydration. That was I think I met you. That was that movie or that film you guys had, and ever since then, it's like I think you went and you shot a grizzly bear last year. And do you have anything? Like, what's kind of like, I guess I remember talking to you about that hunt, and you talked about it was like a dream hunt, and you got to do the grizzly bear hunt. Like, going into this year, I don't think you have anything quite to that level, or do you?
I'm not 100% sure yet. Grizzly was like a really, really big deal for me. I love hunting bears out west, in the springtime out in the mountains, and I've been around grizzlies all the time in Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, both elk and bear hunting. And I just have been fascinated by grizzlies forever. And then hunted sheep in Alaska and caribou up there, and seeing them there, I was just like very much top of my bucket list, wanted to get a grizzly. So I did that this past year. But yeah, sheep, goat, caribou, I love all those Alaskan quarries, I guess you'd say.
So now you're going to Alaska. What are you going to do? Like, that's kind of like my thing. Like, I had that 200-inch deer to like hunt, and it was like, oh my gosh, like I knew it was like one of the biggest deer I was going to have in a long, like in Michigan, maybe once every 10 years I could have a deer anywhere close to that big. And then it didn't go my way. Yeah. So like 24 and 25 was kind of like, 24 was the year, and then 24 last year I was like, I kind of felt different, like hunting that year. So a lot of fun, shot 2 bucks, like did my thing, like still did it, but it just felt a little different. And now like going into this year, I feel like it's coming back. Like I'm getting back to like normal, like not so sad. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, so not saying that you'd be sad that you got to do your dream hunts, but it's kind of like that high of like those hunts, and now you're like doing it again. So how does it feel going, like knowing you're going to Alaska, like again this year? Like what's kind of like, where are you at, I guess, like mentally?
We're going for a completely different reason. We're not even hunting.
Okay.
We're just fishing the sockeye run. So the sockeye salmon run out of the ocean into the Kenai River. And then a friend of mine, well, the guy that I grizzly hunted with, it's in that video, he's coming down and meeting us for a day, and we're going to go jigging for halibut out of Homer. So we're not even hunting on this trip.
Okay.
Chase hasn't been up to Alaska yet. He's 11. It's summertime. It's kind of like a perfect time to go up and do it. Kind of make a long weekend out of it. Like, we're not going to be up there for that long, to be honest. But as far as like the dream hunts and stuff goes, it's a forever evolving and changing thing. I'm very, very blessed and fortunate to be able to do the things that I've done, and I don't lose sight of that. Like, I never would have thought in a million years I'd have the chance to do what I've done so far. So anything from this point forward is just a complete bonus. There's a chance I'm going to be apparently moose hunting this year now, which I didn't expect to come down to the pipe, but that might be a thing in Alberta. And then I've got Montana. I'm in on the alternate list, so I didn't draw in the initial draw, and then you can put your name back in the hat for anyone that turns their tag back in over the summer, whether they drew a different tag in Arizona or they broke their leg or their wife is pregnant or for some reason they can't go. So I'm number 360 for that, and I started at like 620. So I've moved pretty far up that line, so I might be able to be elk hunting in Montana again, which I would love because it's been a couple of years since I've had a tag there.
Yeah. And that
So
would be, and does that take bow and gun, or is it just, okay, that's
it's
right, Montana.
just a general elk tag. I love Montana for that because most states, you're kind of pigeonholed to a season and a unit. And Montana's like, here's 138 units, and you have from September 7, whatever opening day is, that first Saturday in September, to the last Saturday or last Sunday in November, and you can rifle and archery hunt the whole season. So
Sweet.
I like having more opportunity like that. I think that's a way cooler offering than like what Colorado does, where you get these 2 units and you get this one season. So
all right, so you still like Christmas could be coming still for you this year. Like you don't know what day you might have Christmas early yet. All right, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So honestly, even if none of that stuff happens, like a year of hunting whitetails here is still Christmas.
Yeah,
I mean, like I'm just as geeked up about that as I am anything else. So
I have that on my one of the very short list of things here was that, because talking with you at TAC last year, I was like, this dude likes whitetails too. Like he's done all this stuff, but like he really likes hunting whitetails, especially in Michigan. Like you like that.
I do. Yeah, I think like and this is one of those self-control things I struggle with. It's very rare that I miss more than one day in a row. Like I'm usually and it might even be if I'm out for 45 minutes after work, but it's pretty rare that I miss 2 days in a row. I love it all.
That's
but
awesome.
I'm not a very picky whitetail hunter, and I thought I would kind of outgrow that, and then just never did. So like last year opening day, I shot a 1.5-year-old 8-point a piece of public down the road from me, and I was still tickled pink. Like I just love it. I love shooting does, and I like taking a lot of people out too. Like I love whitetail hunting with a group. We have that cabin up in the UP, like west of Escanaba, and there's nothing more than I like than sitting on a big farm. Like we have this 118-acre swamp, and then we lease all the farm ground around it. So there'll be 5 to 8 of us up there on a weekend, and there's just this massive group text going, and everyone's talking about what they're seeing, and then all of a sudden someone's like, screw it, I shot a doe. And that's like when the floodgates open, like, fuck it, I'm shooting a doe too. And then all of a sudden there's 6 does hanging in the trees at the end of the night. That's my favorite part about hunting, is that.
Love it.
That stuff like that. Yeah.
I love that. And dude, I think a lot of guys, especially Michiganders who are listening to this, can relate to that. And if you can't and you're looking for that, try to make your own, because those group texts and talking to your buddies and seeing pictures come through that are like, holy, yep, couldn't take it no more, and shot one. And yeah, I love it. Just
I
absolutely love it. It's great.
Or like you have a guy, we go up there for gun camp, that opener week of rifle, and someone will shoot a buck the first morning, and then they'll just start sitting with their buddies and blinds, and like the shot percentage when someone's sitting together with somebody else, like anytime Matt Tanner and I are sitting in a blind, I will not come back with bullets. Like we are stacking bodies because we're just there to giggle.
Yeah,
like,
giggle, have a good time.
I love that kind of hunting.
Dude,
I like the serious big project stuff out west that takes lots of planning, and I like the stuff that's just the complete opposite of that, where it's just completely fun.
Dude, that is why, like, opening like day, when I get to go hunt with my family on, November 15th, and doesn't matter the wind, doesn't matter the weather, we're going to be up there as a family. There's going to be stories I'm going to hear from my grandpa and my great uncles and stuff that I've heard 100 times, but it's just like, we're going to all go out there, and who knows what's going to happen tomorrow. And I will leave deer every year to go do that, just because that means that much. And if you don't have that, man, I can see why, you hear guys talk about it because they don't have that. And it's like it does maybe take a little bit more. Obviously, I didn't have to put any effort into it because that's just how my family is. But I found little, bits of that, like with my buddies, like going on, rutcation hunts or, doing a doe hunt or whatever, early doe hunt or doing an October lull bow camp somewhere, like in the middle of nowhere. Like you can get that. It's achievable. You
Hmm.
just, but once you find that group of people, it's, dude, I look forward to doing that stuff every year, my buddies. Like it's just great.
Yeah. Yeah. I think our kind of culture as hunters right now is so focused on like inches of antler or how many states he can hit, or like lately it's been videoing stuff and content and all that. And it's so easy to get lost in that garbage and that stuff's cool. Like that's what we do, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, if you don't have that other side of it, if you don't have like that group text of really, really cold shit talking and laughing at your buddies and like the little debauchery that goes along with it, it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like you're missing on 80% of it.
What are you doing with your buddies if you don't have that, right? Like, what are you doing with this opportunity? Yeah, the group chat, the all year group chat stuff that I've been a part of, I'm just like, wow, like you guys are off the wall, but it makes me laugh like every day. So totally worth it. Totally worth it. What, so if you don't, like, let's say, like, I don't want to say doomsday, but like worst case scenario, you don't have like that Western hunt this year. What's kind of like your fallback? Like, is a mule deer hunt on the table somewhere, or are you going to just like, like you said, focus on Michigan, or would you maybe go hunt whitetails in another state? Like, what would kind of be like plan, I guess, C or D for you?
I'll definitely have an out west hunt. It just might be a like August 2, Colorado publishes the list of like whatever's left over,
Yeah.
and I'll take a number off the board. I'm not
Okay.
above doing that at all. It might be fourth season rifle the second week of November and a shit unit, but I'll go. Um, I don't do a whole lot of out of the state whitetail. We did Kentucky for a few years. Where else? I've hunted Ohio a little bit, but I don't really have like I've never put in for Kansas. I've never put in for Iowa. I just don't have this drive to shoot big ass giant whitetails. If I'm going to travel, it's to be something else. And I'm not that like I don't want to hunt Iowa or anything like that. It's just not something I've prioritized. So I'll definitely end up out west or in
Okay.
Canada or Alaska in some capacity. I'm just not sure exactly what yet. So
Gotcha. I just asked that because I feel like, for some reason, just like the way I've seen some of your videos with how you like, hunt these, with a tent on your back and you're going to like these kind of rural places. Like that seems like you like doing that in Michigan, finding these, public pieces or whatever you're doing. Like you like to be out and about. That some of those, like some whitetail hunts, I see guys that do the same kind of a thing. Like they treat it like a backcountry mule deer hunt a little bit. And I just wondered if you'd ever like thought about, dipping your toes into that, with a whitetail
yeah.
or not.
So actually, I kind of forgot about this. Last year, Lex and I, and we had a camera guy with us. We had antelope tags in Montana and we had deer tags just across the border in Wyoming. So we were just kind of bombing back and forth across the border there. And she killed a mule deer the first day we were there in Wyoming. We bombed up north, shot antelope in Montana, and then came back down. And the unit that she killed hers in was closed, but the unit that was just north of that was still open till like November 8 or something like that for the 5th. And we got into like this weird pocket of like mountain whitetails on the Yellowstone River bottom. And
Ooh.
there was still some mule deer that were like kind of hugging the edges of it. We were hunting a little piece of BLM that was like right on the edge of private. And I was looking for a big mule deer and like kind of acknowledging these whitetail, but finally I
Yeah.
got sick of looking at them and I'm like, man, there's a lot of whitetail down in that sagebrush, and this big kind of gnarly old 8 point stood up 700 yards across the river, and I'm like, yeah, we're shooting him. So I have killed
You did
like
get one
more.
last year?
Yeah, I had to swim
Oh,
across the
awesome.
river for him. It was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Well, I
literally
asked
dragging the
that
buck
because,
across the Yellowstone.
yeah, that's so cool. Because I was showing you where I drew that general tag last year when I found those mule deer at like, I think it was like 87 or it was just under 9,000 feet. I found whitetails too. And I was like, so like if they were, if I could have, they were on private, like they were similar concept, like the BLM or whatever was like next to private, but like, you couldn't really tell the difference. So like when I was glassing, I was like, oh my gosh, there's like a nice whitetail right there. I'm going to go get him. And then I like pull up the map. I'm like, son of a gun, that's private. Like he's only like 200 yards onto the private. But I found that's the same area. I've chased the mule deer I was trying to get in bow range and stuff. And I was so shocked to find whitetail there. And I was like, that would be so sick to shoot. Cause like you could see like all the crazy mountains in the distance. I was like, man, like just to be like, show my buddies, like I shot a whitetail right here would have been pretty cool. Like I was just so shocked that they were there.
That was kind of the feeling that I had after I'd shot that whitetail. I'm like, holy cow, this is like kind of surreal, dragging a whitetail through the Clark's Fork of the Yellowstone River, like on this rocky cliff. It was cool. But yeah, the whitetail on the west, like I haven't really dug into it too terrible much just because when I'm out there, I'm usually elk hunting or targeting mule deer. But if you wanted to go out of state and have like your best chance at a predictable 150, 160 deer, Montana, Wyoming, like real good chances on deer like that. And they're so predictable. Like if you can find a river bottom that's anywhere near a pivot, it's going to be full of whitetail. And yeah,
I know.
Usually a little bit easier to figure out.
That's what I found too, like on the lower elevation where I found some of that loaded with whitetails. And I was door knocking the first couple of days, man. I was door knocking so hard. I was like, if we can get permission here, like I will like totally abandon a mule deer, but did not get permission. Probably because a lot of people gun hunt, I'm assuming there. I don't know, but I was a little discouraged. But yeah, dude, it's that it's just a different style. Like you can see really far. Like it's like it's just unlike anything I can do in Michigan. I think that's why I just liked it so much. I'm already like scheming like, okay, this year's Kansas, next year might be my off year. I might try to draw that general tag again and just do that just because it's just so much fun. Like to go, there's so much space, man. And like I was just doing it out of the truck. We set the rooftop tent in the truck and we would just drive places and just bounce around. And like some of the walks was pretty far, but just weather was decent. Like it was just a good time to go with the wife and do all that stuff. Like I don't know how many more years we can do that, but I was like we did that and I was like, man, we should have been doing this for like the past 10 years. Like that would, or when we first were married or something, like just do this every couple of years. But do it if you want to. If anyone's listening to this, it's like, hey, I want to do this. If I can do it, you can do it.
There's a ton of opportunity out there too. And like the one thing that I think people don't realize too is how easy it is to go get a cow tag. Like if you wanted to dip your toes into elk hunting and you don't want to spend $1,200 on a tag, go get an over-the-counter cow tag in most of Western Montana for $228 and have a super long season and come home with 250 pounds of cow meat or elk meat. Like there's a lot of opportunities out there that don't break the bank and that have like super high yield for success percentages too.
Yeah, there's a lot. That's good. And do you still, speaking of that, I know like I listened to some of your podcasts you did with the Fair Chase. What, those are all on there still. Like you kind of did like a full like elk hunt, like breakdown, right? Like how to hunt elk almost on their platform. Was that the Fair Chase you did that?
Yeah, I've done one there and then I've done a couple other ones too, but that one, is probably the most recent one. If you're in West Michigan what is today? This Friday.
Okay.
I'm doing an elk hunting, elk calling seminar at Grand Valley Sporting Goods at 5. But yeah, there's so much like podcast stuff out there about getting going with it, not just stuff that I've done, but it's never been easier to learn and to kind of cut some of the learning curve out with the stuff that's available online.
Yeah, it's great. But I know you're itching to probably get in the gym because you're in the parking lot right now. But I did want to ask you a couple more things. The one thing would be I saw a post about how you want to take some people hunting that have not, had success, like a youth that hasn't shot anything or any of that. I wanted to give you an opportunity to maybe kind of like shout that out and how people could get a hold of you to maybe there's a fellow person that's got a 8 or 9 year old kid that is like tore up how you were and has never done it. And it seems like that's kind of what you want to maybe give them an opportunity this year.
Yeah. So the guy that got me into hunting, his name is Ross Graveling. He's also here in Michigan. He was my youth pastor growing up, and
No way.
just
I know
been like,
Ross. Yeah.
yeah, he's been like a very, very close, impactful person in my life since I was 12. Um, so he got me into hunting in a way that was very similar to what I'm trying to do or what I've done the last couple of years or last 10 years, I guess now, where I love taking people that have like a similar situation to what I was, where someone has this passion or this curiosity for hunting, but their parents don't know what they're doing with it. So they kind of not pawn them off, but they're like, hey, I've got this kid that wants to do it. I don't know what I'm doing. I'll come with. Can we sit in a box blind and go deer hunting? And we had one year where we took 19 people out for the first time in the course of like a month and a half. That was when we had that December season where they basically took the handcuffs off and said, kill whatever you want all December long with a gun. And we took advantage of that. So I've got this farm that's kind of north of Grand Rapids. The landowner is extremely generous. He's a big deer hunter. He has food plots on it, elevated redneck blinds, but he hardly hunts it himself. He's got this piece in Illinois. And he's like, whoever you want to take as far as new people, just let me know when you're going to be here. And it's loaded with deer. So, like, it's a cool experience because you're in a blind. It's a very, I don't want to say controlled situation, but we can get a gun up on a tripod or a crossbow on a tripod or whatever. And we've killed a lot of people's first deer out of that farm and a few others that have kind of a similar story. Like I've got a lot of farms that I can't or I won't hunt just because we save them for opportunities like that. And I had one kid that I met through Ross, who was from South Sudan, came here with his family as a refugee from their civil war. And he, same thing, like never been around hunting. His uncle was killed in Sudan for hunting for the village and providing meat for the village. So he was deemed a poacher, right? And they escaped here. And he's like, I really want to be a hunter like what my uncle was. And we took him out. And the first day that we ever took him out, he shot a deer and he was like magnetic field energy. I've never felt anything like that in my life. And he sat there for 5 minutes in silence and just put his hand in the hide and he didn't say a whole lot. So finally I kind of prompted him, like, what you feeling? He goes, we weren't allowed to have an animal hide in our home, but I'm going to have this in my home. Like, holy shit.
Wow.
Like,
yeah.
So selfishly, I love that for how it makes me feel inside. And it's just like an awesome byproduct that other people get to experience that too. But I truly, truly love that.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's very easy to take that for granted when we've grew up and have these opportunities, but to break it down to that basic part of it, gets the hair in the back of my neck stood up a little bit. So that's cool. So your thing is like, hey, reach out to you on Instagram or whatever is the best way to get a hold of you. Facebook would be the best way for a family that or anyone that knows of someone that could benefit from this. Okay. And I'll make sure to put that in the show notes.
Basically, we just got kind of a little roster going that, and there's already, I think there's like a dozen people that we put on it today. And there's a few other guys that help me out with it. Where like, if we have a pile of people, they're like, hey, I got farms, we'll take people out. And Ross is constantly doing that to this day. Basically the goal is just if there's someone on that list, they'll have a deer killed before the end of the year, whether it's me or someone else or Ross or whomever. Perfect. And we kind of really dig into that, like that Thanksgiving week on, because that's usually a pretty predictable time to get someone out in an afternoon and whack a doe or something.
Yep. So. Be good. Making memories. Memories. Awesome. All right. Well, I got a couple things for you here to end it out. What is your caliber of choice for, I guess, if you were to pick one caliber to do all the hunting you like to do, what would it be?
300 PRC.
Ooh.
208 grain solid copper Barnes bullet. I use that for everything from antelope to grizzly bear. I love that caliber.
Awesome.
Yep.
my 7 PRC is ready to have the scope mounted on it. So I'm
Yep.
jumped into the PRC game. I have everything I killed in Michigan, the black bear I shot in Wyoming, 270's been my go-to. So I feel like I'm making a pretty big leap from a 270 to 7 PRC. So,
Yeah.
but
I was kind of similar. I was 300 Win Mag forever. And then the PRC came out and I kind of just dove into that full steam and I love that platform.
awesome. Bow, what's like, bows are one of those things where like you can have a lot of different ones, but like if you're like, what's a bow that you like? Like, are you a long axle bow, short axle? Like, what's kind of like, if you're like, this is the kind of bow I like to use, what would be like a good platform that you like?
34 or 35 axle to axle is what I shoot really well. I tried a 30, I think it was a 32 one year and didn't work. I got long, gangly monkey arms, so that brace height was
Yeah,
like
hit me with some
a
stats. Hit
longer
me with some
bow.
stats. What's your stats? How big and how tall are you?
6'4", 240, but
Yeah, so
have
you're a
kind
lot
of
taller than me.
obnoxiously long arms.
Yeah.
But yeah, that 34, 35 has been pretty perfect. I've worked with Voight for the last few years, and that everything from the RX-7 to now the 10 and that like high 33s, low 34s has been pretty solid. I've shot that the my favorite bow that or the bow that I shot the best ever in my life. And I don't know if it's just because it was like at a different stage of life where I feel like target panic comes into your world the more stress you have. So as you
Mm-hmm.
get older and you're running business and stuff like that, then it creeps in. But that Prime Synergy hybrid with the 4 cams way back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
if you could put me inside of 70 on something, it was dead. And I've never found that level of confidence in archery since that bow.
That was your baby. That was your baby. I have the RX-7 Ultra, and I guess what's your opinion on the RX-7 versus the RX-10? Like, were you happy with the leap? Because like, to be honest, I've shot bows ever since I got that bow, and there hasn't really been the one that I'm like, this is that much different than my RX-7, so I just keep rocking that bad boy.
I'm sponsored by Hoyt, so I shouldn't probably say this, but the differences between 7 and 10 have been so minimal for me. But I've loved that bow so much that I'm not bitching about it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like the tuning capability in the 10 is great, but it's basically the same thing as the 9. I think it's
Yeah.
got a little bit smoother draw cycle now, but from 7 to 10, they've all been solid. Usually there's like every bow has a weak year.
Mm-hmm.
Like back when I used to shoot prime, the which one was it? The Nexus. I felt like that was kind of their weak year.
Yep.
Every bow before that and every bow after was awesome, but that was like the one I'm like, yeah, that's a bow. Hoyt really hasn't had that. They've been kind of just solid all the way through for me.
That's my exact I thought when I pulled the 10 back. I like the tunability because I'm not a great bow guy. I don't have all the fancy stuff, but just the ability to do what I need to do when I need to make a tweak. I liked, but when I pulled that bow back, I was like, ooh, like that was my number one thing that I liked was it was a little smoother. So I might be picking
Mm-hmm.
up one of those, once the new one comes out, maybe looking scout. But I get my stuff at long range. So, same
Mm-hmm.
guys, great bow techs, all that stuff. And they have a great selection of bows. So it's always nice to shoot all that stuff. But yeah, I've shot Hoyt for a few different ones, and that bow's just tough, man. I've dropped the thing out of a tree stand accident, and it's been through some stuff, and it keeps trucking. So it's like, hey, it does everything I need it to do, and you know what you get with it. Like that's another thing too. Like I feel like some of the other bow brands, like I'm not like this is just whatever how I feel. They can change so drastically from like one to the other. But like every time I shoot a Hoyt, it's like I know what I'm getting like myself into, like how it pulls
Yeah.
back, how it holds. Like they have a definite feel, and and it's kind of like if you like shooting Glocks, you love all sorts of Glocks. So if you don't like a Glock, it's just like not for me. So that's kind of how I feel like a
Yeah.
Hoyt is. It's kind of like you either like that style of it or it's just not for you.
That's a good way to put that. They do have a very kind of blockish feel even. I guess it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of just this bulky thing. You know what it's going to do. You know what it's going to feel like. But
Yep.
yeah, haven't changed a
Exactly.
whole lot in the last 5 years.
All right. Here's another thing for you. So if you had to choose one or the other for the rest of your life to hunt, would it be a bear or would it be an elk?
Oof.
Fortunately, you can shoot bears in the spring and elk in the fall, so you don't have to do this. But if you had to pick
Well,
one,
if like gun to my head had to pick one, bear,
okay,
honestly. And I know that like I get probably more geeked up and excited about a bugling elk coming in than I do a bear. But just for the same reason, I wouldn't want to pick between whitetail and caribou. Like I always have whitetail.
Mhm.
I know for certainty I can always have a bear tag on May 15 in Montana.
Yep.
I don't know that about elk all the time.
Mhm.
And I don't know. I really, really have grown to like that spring bear hunt is like the one I look forward to the most every year because it's just it's physically hard, but it's so rewarding. And I love glassing and I love making big moves in the mountains. And then when you're up on a ridge and this black dot pops out of the canyon way out the way, like there's just something about it that I don't know. I would never want to pick. I love elk hunting. That's what made me fall in love with the West. But yeah, hand to God, if I had to pick, I'd probably just bear hunt.
There, I love it. Spring bear hunt spot and stalk in the mountains like that is. I have a buddy that we're trying to get one on the works that I might be doing next year, or at least tag for the minimum tag along with them, because I just like see videos, hearing you talk about it, all other guys. It's just like a whole nother kind of hunt that would just be like, it kind of fills that little bit of time frame. It's like, hey, why not do something like this right now? And
Oh yeah,
just and build that experience a little bit out west. I feel like is a good way to do that. So
there's nothing that'll make you a better mountain hunter than spring bear hunting. Like the amount of country that you're going to cover to do that, you'll be a way better elk hunter in September if you're out there in May, for sure.
awesome. Love that. All right. So you talked briefly how I knew, because you told me about, guiding. You talked about a little bit with geese and ducks and all that stuff. That's you're a champion caller, or maybe, I believe, right? Did you win some competitions back
Way
in the
back
day?
in the day, yeah.
So are you a better goose caller or a better duck caller?
Goose, for sure.
Goose. Okay.
Yep.
Nice. Would you pick a goose hunt over a duck hunt?
If it's a dry field duck hunt, I would take geese. If it's like flooded timber or marsh, then I'd take ducks.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking in my head. Like
If it's over water, I love shooting mallards and pintails and stuff like that. But a dry field, I'll take honkers. Yeah.
honkers. Something about them things hitting the ground when you shoot one is just pretty satisfying too.
Yeah. And like so much of what a dry field hunt is relying on like mojos for mallards, where you're much more involved in kind of communicating with geese, I feel. Doing flag work and stuff like that.
Because like ducks, once they're committed, they're committed a little more than a goose. Is that what you're saying? Like once you've tricked them to go there, they're like committed to it? Or
I just think ducks are, when it comes to dry field hunting, like ducks know where they're going to go.
okay.
And if you're set up on the X and you got a mojo out there and they fed there yesterday, they're going to be there. Geese, I can be like, oh, there's 250 geese feeding across the highway and I can't get on that, but I can get on the hayfield on the corner. I can call and flag and traffic those birds over to me where you ain't talking a duck out of where he wants to go.
Interesting. I like that. I'm glad I asked that. Cool. Well, that's kind of my rapid fire questions here to end it. I know we could probably go for another hour, but I got things to do, and I know you obviously got things to do, but I'm looking forward to some more conversations. I really want to dig into the youth and getting them involved, maybe in a future episode, kind of follow along with that and see where that kind of leads. I know us over here at Rome, we're very conscious of trying to do that, especially with the lack of doe harvest we have in the state of Michigan, like those kind of things. And I was just on the phone with Skeeter today talking about all sorts of stuff. So Ross is great. I've met him at a couple meetings. We had a meeting with him earlier this year, going over some stuff with me, him, and Adam and Skeeter. So that's pretty cool. It's kind of cool how we all kind of know each other without realizing it. So it's a good community.
Same little network. So yeah, we'll have to get together at some point, go shoot a deer and do another episode or something like that. So
heck yeah, man. Well, thanks, Joe. Really appreciate it, man. And you shout out your Instagram and Facebook. Is your Facebook page just your name so people can look it up if they don't want to look in the show notes?
Yeah. My Instagram is too, just my name.
Okay, perfect. Joe Griffin.
Or
Look it up.
it's got an M in there, just like my email. I keep
Yeah, I
forgetting
don't mess
about
that
that
up. I messed that up. And also, is there any videos coming out soon that you're a part of? Like they're launching here in a little bit, or what's that kind of look
Yeah,
like?
I'm glad you asked because I keep forgetting all this and Instagram stuff. We have
Ah, man.
the I'm terrible at this. The bear hunt we just did in Saskatchewan. That comes out on Thursday, so 3 days from now.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, if that'll probably be live before this is live, and I'll make sure to shout it out in the intro. So
Cool.
it'll be cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Have a good
Thank you,
night.
buddy.
And
Yeah, good
hopefully
talking to
enjoy
you.
the mountains this fall.
Likewise.